SQL LE, which comes bundled with Steinberg CI1 USB audio interface, is a fresh new approach to creating music. It has 3 different work zones. We'll have the pilot zone, the arranger zone, and the multi-zone. Now, SQL LE will give you 8 tracks to work with. Now, we're going to have a combination of loops. You can record audio, as well as use MIDI loops and sequence with an internal synthesizer. So let's come over here and say I want to find a sound. Everything will be kind of categorized. So if I wanted to come over here into my media selection, I could come right over here and say I'm looking for drum beats, and I could actually just say I'm looking for different jazz beats, and we could listen. And let's say I like that beat there, so I'm just going to drag it right into my project window starting at measure 1. And we'll go ahead and we'll kind of zoom in on a file, just take it right here and hold my mouse down, and I could zoom in and zoom out. If I want to make copies, I just go to the right edge and just drag it straight across. If I wanted to cut apart, I go to the bottom, and my tool will automatically turn into scissors. If I go to the upper right hand section, I could just mute all the parts, or if I wanted to just select one part to mute. If I wanted to crop and say I didn't want to hear the ending of this, I could just go right to my corners and actually just choose to hear only a portion of that file right there. Now, as we work with our audio is incredibly dynamic, so it can actually follow any tempo or any key. So if I wanted to come over here and play a project, and just change the tempo to say 96 beats a minute, or to 84 beats a minute. So very, very easy. So it'll automatically just follow whatever tempo that I have. Now, if I wanted to add a bass line, I could just say, okay, instead of looking for drum beats, I can select bass, and then I can come right over here and scroll through a number of different bass lines. So if I wanted to have different audio bass lines, I could just say, okay, let's come over here, and I could actually listen and audition my different sounds. I could also have different MIDI loops. So if I wanted to drag that into my project window, I can now come over here, and now I could actually have my bass. Now my bass will automatically follow the tempo of the project. And let's say I wanted to go ahead and make a copy of the bass line to match the length of the drums. I'll just come right over here, and let's go ahead and copy our drums one more time there. Now let's say I wanted to add something like a Fender Rhodes part. I'll come right over here and say, okay. So now I could just drag that in right here. And let's say I wanted to also have that part show up directly here in my timeline. So we'll go ahead and take a listen to it. So we have our drums, our bass, and now here are Rhodes. Now if I wanted to change the key, I could just simply come right here, and in my main pilot zone area, I say I want to play in a key of D. Now my drums won't actually be changed. It'll actually just follow, and the drums will stay the same, but everything else will be modulated. So if I want to try out different keys, and let's say maybe I want to throw in like some saxophones, so I'll say, okay, let's do brass, and we'll do section, and we'll say, okay, let's do some jazz. And now even when I just kind of drop in my different elements here, I'll just now drop that in, and even though it's an audio file, we can just come right here. Now let's say I wanted to actually modulate in different sections of the song. I could come right here and have a transpose track. So I could start off in the key of C, and then right when in the middle here at measure 6, if I wanted to actually transpose, I could actually come right there, and now I'll just move my scroll wheel up and we'll hit 2, and now that will modulate. And then let's say I wanted to come here and modulate again, say down -2, and now we'll just have our modulation. So as we listen to it, so our drums followed by with our bass, now our Fender Rhodes, now modulating up, and back down. Now say I wanted to adjust the volumes of different clips. We could actually put it into automation mode, and if I come here, I can now select my mixer. So if I wanted to automate a parameter, I can now just come here, move the fader, so I can make the little horns come in softer. So now that is written as automation. If I wanted to actually edit the automation, I could just simply come here and adjust the automation to the parts. Now, when we have so many different tracks, it can be also hard to come over here and remember where all of our tracks are. So we could actually come up here and open up our pictures area. So if I wanted to actually select different pictures, I could say, okay, this is my drum kit. So we'll come here and we'll drop in a picture of a drum set so I can keep track. And then if I wanted to, I could kind of zoom in. So let's say I want to see the whole drum kit. And let's go down to our bass line. So we'll come here and we'll select an electric bass, and we can kind of zoom in and we could rotate the picture as well. So if you want to just kind of zoom in here, and let's say I want this to be my Fender Rhodes. So, and again, we can come here and select our different types of instruments, and I want this track to be horns. So we'll have a saxophone. Now, if I really wanted to kind of control a lot of the different aspects of the individual sounds, I could also come over here and have my EQs. So let's say I wanted to apply EQs to my track. I'll come here and I have 3 bands of EQs. So I'll EQ the drums from the beginning so I can make it brighter. And I could have different presets. And I could actually find kind of different frequency ranges. Or if I wanted to take like and add insert effects, I could come right over here, and let's say on our Fender Rhodes part, I can come right here. And I wanted to throw like a flanger or phaser. Now I could also have global effects. So if I wanted to have reverb and delay, if I wanted to actually come over here and apply my different elements to each of the tracks, I can really sculpt the sound. So I'm going to have different insert effects and all of my different sounds right here. Now, one of the great things is also if I wanted to do more control, we could have a MIDI learn function. So if I wanted to have an external MIDI controller actually control this particular parameter, I could come right here, select it, and move the knob on my controller, and then we'll turn it off. And now any knob that transmits MIDI information from like a portable USB controller, like my Yamaha KX, I can just simply control that parameter right there that easily. So if I wanted to change the tempo, if I wanted to change the key, I can do all these different elements. Now I can also find all of my sounds. I can come over here and be able to do all of my editing of the individual components as well. So if I wanted to come here and select my different elements, if I recorded my vocal, I can record it as audio. If I wanted to edit MIDI information, I could do that, so I could actually sequence. And one of the great things is you could actually come here, and if you don't have an onboard controller, you could actually just simply use the software controller Or if you click again, you could actually just have it work from your QWERTY keyboard and use your computer keys to actually play the different sounds. So once I've created my song, I get a lot of different loops to work with. I can use my own sounds and record my own audio tracks through my CI1 interface or any other audio interface. I could also have a built-in tuner for my guitar or bass. I can do all of my editing, shape all my sounds, have it automatically fit my project, have it automatically fit the key, change the tempo, and then once I'm done, I could just simply come right over here and export it as an audio file to burn CDs or export it directly into iTunes. So as you can see with SQL, it's a phenomenal approach for easy music creation process, all handled in one window.